Hey friends, it's Thursday, so you know what that means. Another edition of Action Figure Impact, where I take a look at a figure of an action figure, somebody who's had a prominent part in TNA Wrestling history. And this week, we're talking about Lance Archer. My first memories of seeing this cat was with TNA Wrestling in the early days. He stood out for sheer size. I believe he's about 6'8", and one thing that was different about him is that he was kind of a slender cut cat who was really athletic, but with an immense amount of power and explosivity. I think his main weakness was his presence. He never felt like a big guy. He never felt his size. And he became kind of a meme before those existed because of an unfortunate lower back tattoo. People were always clowning him about the tramp stamp, so to speak, and even in interviews he jokingly calls it a champ stamp. But if you look at the action figure and the gentleman now, he's had it replaced he's had it covered up with a hill, three crosses, and other extensive tattooing on the guy. But despite his setbacks, he was a big part of Impact Wrestling, and I don't think he never won the big one, but he was always there in the background. And then at a certain point, I remember turning on one of the WWE B shows, and they had this guy Vance Archer, who was very much a watered down version of uh, Lance Hoyt from TNA. He cut his hair. He was just very, very generic. WWE just polished him up too much, and he really didn't make a big impact, pun intended, in WWE. But he went back to his home ground, did his thing with a couple of tag teams. Probably the most notable was with the Rock and Rave Connection. It was a tag team managed by Christy Hemme, and he also had Jimmy Rave, rest in peace. And they were a big part of the tag team division in TNA Impact, and they were known for coming in the ring with Guitar Hero controllers, and they were like the three-man band before the three-man band. He'd come out all wild and ridiculous, with a cigarette in his mouth that he never smoked, and carrying the guitars, and they were just fun to watch. And when he left TNA, I believe, I don't know if he had a stop in Ring of Honor, but I know that the next big splash he made was in New Japan. And really, I think when he joined up with Suzuki Gun, which is the stable led by Minoru Suzuki, it really added an edge and a toughness to his character. If you don't know Minoru Suzuki, tremendous wrestler. He's a pioneer. He actually started up the Pancrase uh, wrestling company, which Ken Shamrock, and it was kind of a half pro wrestling, half mixed martial arts company. And they were known for very, very brutal wrestling matches. And there was some debate on if it was all pro wrestling or if some of it was legitimate competition. But that's Suzuki in a nutshell. He is known as the Murder Grandpa because everything he does is brutal, and he's been doing it for decades. And being around that guy, you're gonna get some edge. You're gonna get some toughness. You're gonna learn how to really, come into your own as a big man. I think that was what really changed things for Lance Archer is being around that influence. And he took that, along with some added size and, that attitude that he got from being in Suzuki Gun to making his way to AEW, where he was really, really, really Bush Strong with Jake the Snake as his manager. And it was so funny because for all of his matches, they were booking him against unsigned guys and guys who were lower tier in the company. And his music would hit, and you would see his opponent fly out of the tunnel, and he would come out already whooping him before the music even stopped. And Jake would come out trying to feign as he's trying to keep him under control, even as he wasn't. And it was so much fun to watch him just beat the living piss out of guys. And he really didn't do much. Hasn't done much of note outside of that. And I don't know. I think though he's in his 40s, this is the age of wrestling where guys are in better shape, better conditioning, and they can stay that way into their 60s. And so there is still time for them to do something major with, Lance Archer. And he's still, going back and forth to New Japan, which is something that I absolutely love about AEW, is that they give their talent opportunities, to work, whereas in certain other companies, you're signed, and if they don't have anything for you, you're just going to sit at home and get a paycheck until they have something for you. But in AEW, these guys, they can not only get shine on TV, but if they're not involved in anything major on TV, they can go out, get experience, tweak their character, find out something that will work for them. And so I think there is still hope, especially with Lance Archer being the hard worker he is, having the mind for business that he does, and his size and athleticism and personality. I think he could potentially get a run at the big title if AEW positions him right. So anyway, this has been another edition of Action Figure Impact featuring Lance Archer, aka Vance Archer, aka Lance Hoyt. You guys enjoy wrestling tonight, TNA Impact, and I will see you next time with another Action Figure Impact. Let me know if there's any other wrestlers that you would like to see featured in Action Figure Impact. Anyway, I'll see you next time. Keep buying them figs. Keep watching that wrestling. I am out.